And today I'm going to give a transmission that is titled Sexual Energy Secrets to Unlock My Powers. So I think you're going to like this one because we're going to talk about how it's being used on you and how you can use it. It's this very primitive reptilian brain thing, okay? So there's a saying in the marketing world by the legendary Dr. Clotaire Rapaille, and he says that the reptile always wins. So when we look at the reptile, and you'll have to forgive me because the sun is like making me glare, it's a little bright today. The reptile is the part of your brain that wants to survive and reproduce. That's why it's so potent. It is the grander part of your motivation, your drive. It's always seeking for self-preservation, and it will do anything necessary to get its needs met. And so the secret of sexual energy transmutation is to get that part of your brain to associate what you desire with reproduction and survival. So let's look at it like this. It's used in language patterns, and these language patterns are really powerful and seductive. For instance, if I told you that Bitcoin was about to pop really hard and that there are big things coming in the industry right now, I want you to stop and reflect on what you just heard. You just heard a hypnotic language pattern that was geared towards the reptilian brain so that you could desire it more. Look at the box on Amazon. The Amazon box has an arrow the shape of a penis on it. And that's not that's not by accident, okay? That is by design. That's to create the state where your reptilian brain is attracted and associated to it. So I know it's kind of weird. I have this cord coming out of my arm. If you're noticing that, I know I just did. That's just the microphone here. I forgot my whole setup and all that, so it's off the cuff, so forgive me for that. So listen, there are ways out there that you can use this to gain power and influence, and I suggest you do it for not personal gain, but for the all, because when you desire personal gain, what happens is it shuts down the flow of resources from within yourself, where all of the good things in life come, the treasures, they come from inside. So the saying that I came up with in my ministry is, when man thinks he's giving, he's receiving, okay? That's the way that the world really works. When we are pouring forth good to others, it begins to stick to us and it begins to accumulate in our lives. And when we withhold good from others, when we decide to cling and hold back, it shuts down the circulation. Okay, now you know what happens if you lose circulation in the arm, you're going to have to cut the arm off. The limb's going to have to come off eventually, right? That's what happens is you destroy the circulation in any area of your life, and that becomes dead. It dies, it withers. So we have to give, and we have to pour forth out of divine love. Now with that said, let's talk about some of the ideas and the secrets. I talked about language patterns. You can use language patterns in your conversation, and it can make you gather influence that way, because people, whether they know it or not, even if they're conscious of it, for instance, when I say Bitcoin's about to pop hard and that there are big things coming in the industry, your subconscious mind is like, I know what you just did, but I want more. You see? Because it wants to survive and reproduce, and those kind of ideas are very seductive to it. And you know that the arrow on the Amazon box looks like a penis, but yet you still kind of secretly like it. You see? That's how powerful this is. It's very, very manipulative, but it's also something that you can use for your benefit. Language patterns like that. You see? You can use those language patterns in your conversations, and you can adopt the habit of talking like that if you want to be manipulative. I don't personally use those language patterns because I'm a minister. Now, if I were in the car sales business, or if I were in some other form of business that wasn't trying to take the high path, I probably would use those language patterns. I would indoctrinate my process to facilitate the use of those in my day-to-day conversations. Now, As far as energy is concerned, everything is energy. Okay, so the chi, the prana, this is sexual energy squared, okay? This is all this reproductive, powerful life energy. It's so powerful that, you know, look at electricity. You stick your hand in the outlet and you're toast, okay? Now, the other thing is that you can also use the outlet to make wonderful things happen. Lights come on, you know, your appliances begin working, right? If used properly, it's a very, very potent thing for you, and it's used improperly, it's going to be very potent against you. That's the same way when you practice dark magic and dark rituals using some of the techniques that I'll share with you, because if you do this, it's going to backfire on you, and like I said, remember, what you do for others happens to you. So if your intent is to bless others and to make positive things happen for other people, then this is going to go very well for you. If your intent is to hurt someone, take away something that belongs to someone else, or to get revenge or anything like that, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you hard, okay? There's another language pattern. You get that? So here's how this works. Your base chakra, okay, down by your reproductive area, okay, this is the animal propensity desire. This is what's tied into that reptilian brain. It's all about survival. It's just pure survival. Okay, then as we move forward up the chakras, we get up, you know, to the cultural area. This is where your social status is, all this stuff right here. And then you get up to here and you get into the heart. And the heart is really, heart up is where you want to operate all of this energy. So when you operate the energy from here down, you can reproduce life, you can make babies, you can do you know, a lot of things having to do with money. So we don't want to disregard this area, because this area is tied in with your, you know, your physical, tangible sustenance that brings you money and things like that. You don't want to negate that. You don't want to be so heavenly bound that you're no earthly good. You get it? If you're so heavenly bound, the sun's really getting to me, I'm sorry, but I should have worn my glasses today. If you're so heavenly bound that you're no earthly good, well, then you've done yourself a disservice, because as long as you're on this plane, you have to operate within it. So what we want to do essentially is we want to take the raw energy from that plane, the raw aggressive energy, and we want to facilitate it up, and we want to bring it into the world. And this is what they talked about in the book Think and Grow Rich, the transmutation of sexual desire. Okay, all wealthy individuals understand how to do this, because this power creates life, businesses, etc. It's all creative power. It's flow. It's like a bioelectric phenomenon, like you would feel electricity if you got shocked. Well, this sends these these electromagnetic waves. It gives the power to it, so that what happens is this. I'm going to show you how you operate. Okay, you operate on thoughts, okay, and energy and frequency. Now what happens is you have this right here, you have your knowledge capacity. Okay, this is your capacity to, you know, experience things because of the knowledge that you possess. An example of that is that when the natives were on the land when Columbus came with the ships, they were not able to see the ships because they didn't have the dendrites weren't wired. They couldn't understand. They didn't know what the concept of a ship was. Therefore, it was invisible to them. All right? So, this is the thing, is that your knowledge capacity, what are you aware of? Okay, are you aware of what it would be like to be wealthy and successful, millionaire, billionaire, etc.? That's why they say that the secret to success is not what you know, but who you know, because what happens is minds mingle. And so what happens is these thought streams that are always tapping in, what happens is these thought streams eventually tie into the electromagnetic field in the heart. This is the frequency you're on. So what happens is the thought stream combined with the frequency, which is the electromagnetic field, creates the phenomenon, the particle wave duality, where we collapse things into physical matter. You see, this electromagnetic field draws in particles of matter and surrounds you in the Maya, okay, the illusion that you call your outer world. is material superstition, but it's ultimately brought in by your thought stream and the frequency you're on. So if you hang around people with a higher frequency and that are having much more prosperous thoughts than you, then you resonate. You begin to resonate, just like a candle lighting another candle, okay? Like tuning forks, tuning in, okay? This is how this works. It's the secret. You don't want to work yourself up to being successful. That's what they teach you in school. That's nonsense. That's a linear series progression, okay? That is in the laws of frequency and energy, like electricity. Series circuit, every time you put a resistor in there, it increases the resistance at the end. So what happens is now you have less flow. And so the block of that flow is actually what we would call in thinking terms unconsciousness. Unconsciousness. Now the vast majority of the world is deeply unconscious. So being unconscious as they are, you see, they have lack of knowledge. That's why the people perish. For lack of knowledge, they perish. See? They have the lack of knowledge, but most importantly, their vibrational set point is low at the point of where fear dominates the heart. And out of the heart come the issues of life. So fear brings condemnation, shame, and guilt, and fear is a call for those to come into your life, and those are calls for punishment. And what we do is we punish ourselves. We take away something, our health, our finances, or relationships. We take those things away. We are endowed language patterns. Okay, we are endowed to be able to create whatever it is that we desire in our human experience, because the creative power is representing us into existence. We are the reflection of God's perfect day to live in his perfect day of rest. And that's high-level Gnostic wisdom. You see, the people that run the world, the people that control everything around you, you cannot assume that they are less spiritual than you, because they actually are very much more spiritually aware of principles and truths that the vast majority of people, A, can't comprehend, and B, they wouldn't believe in it even if they knew it was true, okay? Because they live in a limited capacity state. Their capacity to realize what is set before their lying eyes in form is dimmed down and dumbed down to the lowest degree possible. The lowest common denominator is what you will find in the mass consciousness. Okay, and that's how it works. That's why the mass consciousness produces these ideas of governance from outside of oneself. Okay, that's why, you know, the idea of government, it brings about usually a loss of freedom. Okay? See, inherent in spirit, inherent within ourselves, are self-governance, which brings about perfect order, and the idea of freedom is something that can be given by no one and can be taken away by no one but oneself. So once you reclaim your status as a sovereign under the mighty sun, you know, the rays of God, you are the reflection, you are the sun sent forth to heal the world, then you can start to tap into the knowledge capacity that will bring you power. So the first technique I want to share with you is my most important technique. It is the creme de la creme. Why is it important? Well, when I learned it, I was bedridden and bankrupt with Lyme disease. I had lost everything, and I had lost, you see right now, like, I'm pretty stout, whatever you call this, astute, stout, whatever. I work out twice a day. I work out like a pro athlete. I'm 43 years old, okay? I work out better today than I did when I was half my age. That's energy flow, that's frequency, that's consciousness. The more you reflect, you know, Christ consciousness, the more you reflect higher vibration, the more in tune everything becomes, including your finances, your body, and your relationships. Now, set that aside for a minute. Back then, I was sick. I was really living from a place of fear. I was believing everything I saw with my lying human eyes, and I was falling into the trap of living from the 5 human senses. So, from that position, I had acquired what they called Lyme disease. And it was really, really hard. I'm telling you, I had never experienced nothing like that. Never would I wish it upon my enemies. Over 3 dozen trips to the ER. I mean, it was bad. I was 50 pounds lighter. That's why I was telling you about being stout right now, okay? I enjoy this. I really do. Because when I was 50 pounds lighter, you can imagine, I had the sunken in cheeks. I was pale. I was losing my hair. I was losing my gum tissue. My joints hurt so bad I couldn't hold anything. I couldn't play my musical instrument very well because my hands would shake. And I couldn't do anything. I was without the ability to do anything. So walking around the block was my epic, heroic journey for the day because my legs would shake in the beginning. I was very sick and I was dying and I didn't have any money. But I started to just turn to God wholeheartedly, give my life to God, pursue God with a passion. And I started to reach out and learn some things. So what I learned, just to make a long story short, if you want my story, you'd like it, because I'll give you the blueprint of how I went from bedridden and bankrupt to 7 figures and also to manifesting perfect well-being. It's my book, Allow, my first one that I wrote. You can text the word allow to the area code 608-530-6658. Sent right to your smartphone instantly. You can read that. My #1 bestseller, my #1 international bestseller, Ask Until It's Given. You can just text ask and get that book as well. I'll give them to you free. Okay, I'm not in the business of book selling to make money off of books. I did back then when I was launching those books, but frankly, I don't care anymore. I just want the information to be in your hands so you can be prosperous and be blessed. Now, this ABC break process, what I'm getting to, it's what set my world on fire, okay? It got me out of that mess. So the ABC break process is so potent, so powerful, that if you will do it 5 times a day and you will begin to understand the mechanics of why it works, it will set your world on fire. That's what it did for me. I was able to just roll myself into a high consciousness, okay? By the way, text the word ABC to the number, 608-530-6658. Boom, there you go. You'll get the lesson, or it's on my YouTube channel. Just any of these things. The ABC break process is on my YouTube channel. You can look for it. Learn this technique. I'm telling you what. I would pay $100,000 to know this technique today. I would, easily. Easily. And I would value it as such. Because it's so gosh darn powerful that it is one of the most critical things that I use day in and day out to keep the consciousness from solution-based. This goes back to this linear progression I talked about, series circuitry. Everything about you is bioelectric, therefore it operates on the laws of electricity. So get this. When you operate in a series circuit, which means you go from problem consciousness and try to get to a solution, that is inverted reality. That is the inversion of truth. That's lie, that's error, that's falsehood, okay? The way that it works is that you maintain the continuity of perfection. So we go to parallel realities. Yeah, you switch your mainframe over by your contemplation of truth. When you know that parallel realities are how things really work and you put your consciousness on that idea, you begin to reflect the factual state of consciousness where parallel realities are the fact. So parallel realities operate like this, that everything happens in the now space, and out of the frequency and the knowledge capacity that you occupy, this is the work of Neville Goddard, by the way, out of that you occupy, you create the resonant field from within yourself outward, and you push yourself out to represent to you the characters that you are internally. It is so deep, and you don't have to understand all of the complexities. Just know the technique, use the technique, and as it begins to work for you, then learn the complexities and you will have deep wisdom. You will have the wisdom that the people who run this whole planet have been using against others for eons, the rulers, okay? It's a spiritual thing. They're not material at all. It's a ruling class of, you see, this is spiritual war, all right? Now, all that set aside, my website, MatthewDavidHurtado.com, I teach what's called the 3-2-1 prosperity formula. This is how I locked in permanent prosperity, okay? This is how I locked it in, okay? 3 is tithing, 2, non-judgment, 1, following the fastest path to your joy every moment. Watch those videos on my website. You can get them free. Just opt in. Seriously, learn it. I would be nothing without tithing. I would be nothing without honoring the Creator. Because here's the deal, the deepest Masonic knowledge ever, and even the Rockefellers tithe. I'm telling you, they know this, because they know the law of sacrifice and they know the law of honor under the Melchizedek covenant. This prospers anyone who is bold enough to use it. Now, you can live drunk in your 5 senses and believe that you're it. and think that your acts are going to create prosperity or lack of prosperity depending on how hard you work. You can believe all that crap they tell you about crushing it and grinding it and doing all that. That's slave mentality. You're a slave if you believe that. You are living under the Babylonian debt slave system. See, I'm teaching you the highest level knowledge that all the high-level Masons know, that all of the Gnostics knew. Okay? How do I know this? Because I went and researched from the Hebrew to the pseudepigrapha to the, the Gnostic Gospels. This is my passion. This is what I love. And I'm not just telling you it's theory. I'm telling you to don't believe a word I say. Just use it. And then you'll believe every word God said, because it's all God's word. See, if you live in ignorance, you'll suffer. You'll perish. If you live from wisdom, you will prosper, and everyone around you will wonder what the heck you're doing. You will work with laws that are so divine and so potent that they make every fallen law under the sun look like nothing but child's play. So, with that said, learn the ABC, learn the 3-2-1. I used the 3-2-1 and ABC break process all day, every day. That's what I did when I was going from bedridden and bankrupt to 7 figures. Boom, boom, boom. It was the most exciting time in my life. It was so incredible. It was the best of the best of the best. Now, if I only did that one time, you'd think that that was an anomaly, but it's happened several times. So it's not a rare thing. It is based on wisdom. And that wisdom is not exclusive to me. That wisdom I discovered, and I'm giving it to you. Take it for what you want to do with it. So, with that said, the other thing I want to tell you is back to the using of the chakras, back to the using of the the energy, is that we want to take those base level animal propensity. Okay, see, grind, crush, hustle is all.
Hello, it's Amanda with Alpha Upgrade. This is my favorite ritual. Milkane is a chocolate fat-burning energy-boosting formula that allows you to crush it. Milkane is packed with adaptogens, minerals, and vitamins to help you combat stress, always on your A game. It has brain-boosting power ingredients like bacopa, L-triosine, and more for the ultimate dopamine rush. Hence the name, Milkane.
All these chakras down. I'm not saying it's bad, because it does tie into the money system on the earth plane. Okay, grind, hustle, that's all reptilian. See, the reptile brain always scans the environment. Who should I kill? What should I eat? And what should I mate with? That's all it cares about, period. That's it. End of discussion. But see, what happens is it doesn't take into consideration the second and third tier consequences that come from that. So if you use the energy maliciously, you'll get what you want, but you're going to create second, third, fourth tier consequences that are going to come back and destroy you from the inside out. That's black magic, all right? So what we want to do is we want to use it, and we want to run it up through. And Dr. Pillai taught about this in the meditation that he gave to Wayne Dyer. So the way that I've used it very successfully is I allow myself to become in the aroused state, okay? Now you can stimulate the chakra, you can put your gaze upon something that is exciting to you. I recommend you do it in a way that doesn't bring guilt, because if you bring guilt upon yourself, you're going to punish yourself. So if you're in a relationship, don't go watching things that are inappropriate. Don't go doing something inappropriate. It's my advice. And if you're not in one, but you have certain belief systems that are contrary to that, like if you're a fundamentalist Christian and you believe that, looking at such things could be detrimental to you, then you need to work on your beliefs, because you're going to punish yourself by virtue of guilt. Whatever is appropriate to you, this is how you use this. So for me, I'm in a marriage, so I can think about my spouse, I can become aroused, I can become excited, I can remember a time. Remember a time. Remember a time. That means you bring to the memory stick, which is the body, the vibration. What happens is that thought stream carries the vibration in, and then you assume that vibration, and then you run that energy down. Okay, you start to become excited in your lower, chakras. You know what I mean? Okay, it's not hard to understand. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what you can do is you can bring that up. You can bring that desire up with your intent to bring it up the spine, up the chakras, up and out the third eye, and use the sound of creation by planting in your world the seed from your imagination to engender forth and bring to you that which belongs to that frequency. So the way that it works is real simple. Assuming that you are going to pause this video, get yourself into the aroused state, I'll walk you through it. Okay, now we're ready. So we begin to put our attention on our base chakra, where the arousal is. And then as we say the word ah, we are bringing the energy, from our imagination. We're witnessing the energy come up the chakras, up and out this third eye right here, that's right there, and then pouring it forth as a vision into your outer experience. And what you're doing is you're painting your outer experience from the perspective of being the recipient of what you desire already. You're not going to get there. You're painting it as in you're already there and you're pouring it out into your world. Example, you want to be a multimillionaire. This is what I used to do when I wanted that, and I became that in, my first product business, okay? Here's how you do it. It's going out the third eye. What am I imagining? I'm imagining myself being the person who already possesses all of these things and occupying that state of being, that feeling space, that knowledge capacity, and that feeling at the same time. And I'm witnessing it with my spiritual senses. So I'm feeling it in my imagination, seeing it in my imagination, hearing it in my imagination. And then I do this process for about 15 minutes each morning or each afternoon, whatever time you have time set aside to do this. And you bring those images forth, and then you plant them and let them go. Okay? Now what I recommend is you do that with the ABC break process and the 3-2-1 and just watch what happens, because you'll be using your flow, your power, your chi, your prana, your intent will impregnate your world. Okay? Remember, from these chakras down, you can physically impregnate someone or become impregnated if you're the womb man. That's what woman means, womb man. Now, if you run them up through here, there's a little secret I'll teach you. And this is the secret, is that this down is lust, this up is love. Lust and love are not the same thing. So what we want to do is we want to radiate, get this, radiate love to the divine presence I am within our heart, okay? I am is God within. God is within. If you think God's up in the sky as some being with a white beard, you're not in the right video. You need to go back to the fundamentalist teachings and try that for a while, because this is way, way different, all right? God's not out there. God's in here. Okay? God is experiencing you as his reflection. You're not clothing God as some artificial construct out there. That's all inversion. That's how the rulers controlled you, is they painted that which was evil good. More to come on that in my videos. Again, on my website, you can watch idisrupt.world, or just type it in your browser, idisrupt.world. I'll teach you all about that. I'll teach you all about that. Now listen, so you do this process, okay? You do the ABC break process, you learn about honoring under the Melchizedek covenant with the 3-2-1, and then you're firing on all cylinders. You are protected by the Most High. You see, this is power. This is beyond what most people will even ever reach for. They'll never even want to know this, because they think that the secret to success is a lottery ticket. So they'll put all of their faith in that which is non-power. Okay, the world of form. The world of form is an illusion. It's a dead carcass. That's what the Gnostic Gospels call it. You're being deceived. It's trickery. This is where the action is. Success is 98% mental. 98. 2% outer action. You want to take the hard path? Then struggle under the Babylonian debt slave system. You want to take the easy path? Just watch this video again, pick up the pieces and use them. And I just created something that is magnificent for you. It is a nighttime audio that you can listen to. It's on my YouTube channel, and I want you to have it. So here's why it's important. It is in a theta brainwave frequency realm. So theta brainwaves are how you can drop your brainwave from beta, which is your conditioned way of mind. That's you know, concentration, focus. You use that for exercise when you really want to be like on a hyper alert state. Now, that's a neocortex phenomenon. The cortex people love this. That's not reptilian, by the way, that's cortex. Now we know, I told you, the reptile always wins. Cortex is great, okay, for some things like memorizing facts for a test and this and that, because it's all left brain oriented. We want to move into the midbrain, which is the whole brain. We want to go from beta to alpha and then into theta. Theta is like the dream state where you're just about to fall asleep at night, but you're still kind of semi-awake, or in the morning when you're sleeping, but you're kind of awake, and yet you're still dreaming. You're kind of between both worlds. That's theta. And so with theta, you are hyper suggestible. Now, in that state, we drop our suggestions in the proper language patterns. So what I've done is I've put in the brainwave, and I've put in the proper language patterns for you so that you can just plug and play. It's just a default phenomenon. Now, that audio is titled, I Am a Billionaire Spiritual Master. Okay? That's what it's programming you for. And it's programming you for not only finances, but also relationships and your physical appearance. Okay? Because it's all consciousness. And that's a default thing. I suggest you get it on your phone and you text billionaire to 608-530-6658. So what I do is I keep it on my phone, and then that way, you know, if YouTube ever, you know, bans the video or shuts it down, you own that video. Why would I say that? Because some of the content I produce can be controversial. I've had 3 YouTube channels deleted out of thin air like that. All right, now why is that? Well, I've had conversations with some people that are very, very high level. One of them is, you know, Russell -J Gould. The minute I got off the phone with him a couple years ago, my YouTube channel was shut down. I had hundreds of videos on there, and within 5 minutes it was gone, and it was never coming back. See, there are people out there that have knowledge that threaten the very foundation that the whole power system is built on. And these things, unfortunately, could happen. So if you own this video, and I'm telling you, this audio, that's what I mean, this audio, if you have this audio on your phone, I'm telling you, it's power. It's going to blow your mind. If you do the things that I'm recommending to you, you're going to thank me. And, you know, this is the thing. Why would I do this? Do you think I'm a martyr? No, I'm not a martyr. Am I here just to serve you? No, I'm absolutely not here just to serve you. The reason I do this is because it's my life mission. It's my purpose. I'm on purpose. And the more that I give, the more I get. So how I acquire more wisdom is I keep giving it. Whatever I learn, I teach. And that way I get more and more and more. And that's a universal principle again. So with that said, that's what I want to give you. Now let's recap so I can let you go. So I talked about the ABC break process. Phenomenal. Okay? Phenomenal. I talked about using the meditation. It's incredible. I talked about 3-2-1 prosperity formula, the mechanics of prosperity in God's kingdom, knowing God's laws of prosperity. And I talked about the audio. I talked about 4 things for you. Those 4 things have everything to do with sexual energy, because even the audio is programming you with the suggestive language to transmute your sexual energy into the highest channels possible. You see, when you can move all that up here and out, then you will be doing the same phenomenon that they wrote about in the book, Think and Grow Rich, Sexual Transmutation of Desire. But they left out the how-to. They didn't tell you how to do it. I spent my whole adult life figuring out how to do it and have demonstrated it on several occasions. So I want you to have it. I want you to prosper. The world needs you to prosper. It's critical right now. So go out and make yourself the most success, more than you've ever dreamed of, by knowing that it is an inside game. 98% of it is in here. It's not out there. 98% of it is preparation from within, consciousness. 98%. That's why you focus in here. And then whatever comes out here, you'll be cutting through like a sharp sword, because you've sharpened your sword so great that you just have one stroke and it just knocks everything right out of your way. That's how powerful you are. You already are that powerful. This is the process of remembering. Take care, God bless, and share this with the ones you love.
Hello, I'm Julie with Allow Ministries on behalf of Matthew David Hurtado. Are you ready to end self-sabotage, procrastination, and distraction? Clarity, certainty, and a proven plan of action is what it takes to get anything you want in life. Training is the answer. Matthew David Hurtado's Spiritual Millionaire Workshop is the one-step solution that finally puts you in control of your destiny. What Matthew discovered about building a 7-figure business and perfect well-being when he was bedridden and bankrupt with Lyme disease is that mentorship is success without the wait. It works. At allowuniversity.com, you'll discover how to walk in victory. Learn how to prosper in every area with unstoppable daily habits and a step-by-step training to build your dream business immediately following the event, a success training for a lifetime of achievement. Walk in financial increase, living a life you love. Go to allowuniversity.com and say yes to your destiny.